All right, we are back here. Show me the money time. NFL picks for week number 1 of 18. We have an extra week of the podcast here. You're diving right in, getting ready to do your picks for week 1. Join me today. The guy who I talked to last in the January during the Wild Card Plus team ends up winning the Super Bowl. Charlie Borges is back here. Charlie, how are you?
Good, Mike. Thank you for having me. It's been a long time.
I have to ask. It has been, but has the halo worn off yet for the Super Bowl win?
You and me are Mets fans, so we don't know how to process happiness when it comes to sports. So I don't think it's really processed still, even it's the beginning of a new season, that the team that I've rooted for my entire life has won the championship. So now I'm just kind of like, oh, yeah, we won.
That's a strange.
We won.
Yeah.
How do I feel? What do I do with my hands? It's kind of one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I've had Patriot fans on, but not the year they won. So, like, you're the first person I've had on, like, right after the team won the championship. So,
I'll take the honors.
Yeah, and take me back to that night when the game's on. So, like, what was that experience like? Because that game was like over pretty early because you saw that Chase had no chance to block the Bucs front.
So I was watching it, and I believe it was right at the 5-minute mark left in the fourth quarter is when I started to get the congrats. Hey, I know that you've been a fan of this team for so long. Congratulations, your team won the championship. And I remember my friend calling me, saying congratulations, and I hung up on him because I did not trust anything that was going to happen. I did not care if there was 1 second left. If Patrick Mahomes had the ball, I knew that the entire night the Buccaneers defense was stellar. They stopped him. He did nothing, which is unheard of. And the reason why it was unheard of is the reason why I'm like, unless that hero, the clock says 0-0-0. Okay, now we're good. So as soon as the clock hit 0, I responded to everybody saying thank you.
Yeah, you're like me. You wait for the confetti to fall before you start celebrating.
Yep. As soon as the confetti falls before the celebration starts, it downhill real quick. I'm very superstitious when it comes to my teams, and I shouldn't be, but I am.
Oh, I totally get that, man. And I have to say also, like, what the Bucs are doing this year, I feel like is unprecedented because I was talking about it before with Shilkapati the Athletic, is like, they're running it back. Literally, they bring back, I see everybody who played a key role on the team. All the coordinators are back. Like, this is complete continuity. So I think this is a very, very interesting thing. And what do you think about this?
It kind of leaves me speechless because it's never been done before.
Yeah.
Like in my entire lifetime, in our entire lifetime, it's never been done before. Like some teams have had a majority, but this is the first time where it's literally been everyone down. I think the one person that I can think of off the top of my head that's not back is Joe Haig.
Yeah.
And he was an offensive lineman. Now he's with the Steelers. If you can name one guy that was on the Super Bowl winning team that's no longer there, that's incredible. And you kind of set these unrealistic expectations of, well, if they had everybody last year, they should win it again this year. That's not the case.
Yeah.
This is the first time where we have 18 weeks of football. So it's now 17 games per team instead of 16. So will that affect Tom Brady and his elder statesman status? I don't know. But once again, you put an obstacle in Tom Brady's way time and time again. He's just, all right, what's next? So it's going to be interesting.
It definitely will be, because it's always one thing you talk about when you have the team that wins the championship. They're like, where do you get that hunger back to like go do it again? Because going from training camp all the way to that Super Bowl again, it just feels like such a long journey. And there's always seems to line of thought that I've seen in conventional sports, like, oh, bring in somebody who hasn't won before, whether it's like a big time player, like a coach, something like that, who can win. But like this, they're not going to have any of that. It's interesting to see like if they can maintain that same intensity now that they've all got the ring. It's like nobody who really hasn't got one besides like their rookies.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Joe Tryon, their first round pick, is going to do. I believe he added an extra name to his last name, so it's forgive me, I forget what he added it to. It's no longer Joe Tryon, but I'm really excited to see what he can do. And if you had a defense that stopped Patrick Mahomes or limited the almighty Kansas City Chiefs offense to 9 points in the Super Bowl, and the only thing you do to that defense is add talent, there's no telling what that defense can do.
Yeah, I looked it up. It is Joe Tryon Shoyinka. That's his new name.
Thank you. I knew he added another name, and I could not. It's fairly new, so please forgive me.
It is fairly new, and they have we are recording 1 week prior to the season opener here on next Thursday night. They'll be raising the banner in Tampa against the Dallas Cowboys. A matchup I saw coming because get America's team in there for the TV rating. So what do you think is the key for the Buccaneers in this game to start the title defense with the victory?
Honestly, their preseason wasn't good. It's hard for me to watch the Buccaneers games because I live in New Jersey and all the games are broadcasted down in Florida. So the only thing I can do is watch the highlight, like there's very small highlights. And for the Buccaneers, I think the key is getting off on the right foot this year, because last year they started off a little rocky against the Saints in the first week and they were destroyed in New Orleans. They can't let that happen again. They need to start off on the right foot. They need to start off exactly where they left off. Stellar defense and Tom Brady knowing exactly what they need to do, and heroes coming from unexpected places. So the key is consistency, and the only way to get consistent is to start. So what better way to start than week 1?
Yeah, I think my personal key to this game is just for your front four again to get after Dak Prescott. Because considering he's barely had anything going on in the preseason because of shoulder injury.
He's confirmed playing?
As of right now, as of record date, it sounds like he's trending towards playing. But like the way I look at it is like if you can't give him a clean pocket, gotta make him work a little bit for it.
So here's the thing. Dak Prescott barely did anything in the preseason, as you said before. Zeke, I know he wants to turn over a new leaf and get back to who he used to be. And Dak is coming back from that horrific injury. And I think the only person that I've seen come back from an injury like that would probably be Alex Smith.
Yeah.
At the quarterback position anyway. Like Tom Brady, he tore his ACL. People come back from torn ACLs all the time. But for Dak to miss so much football for the last year and a half and have his first in-game action be against the defending Super Bowl champions, that is he'll probably be pumped because he's back on the field and he's playing the defending Super Bowl champions. But Devin White, I think he's going to be too quick for him. And if they pressure Dak and they keep blitzing and blitzing and blitzing, it's going to be a long night for Dak.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll get to now the week 1 picks here. And the one thing you and I were talking about this off the air, I thought was interesting here, is that the lines are very, very tight this year because they did a good job sort of matching up a lot of these like bad teams against bad teams, good teams against good teams going to bad teams. It's not like one automatic, like, oh, like this team is favored by 14 points. And I think the biggest line on the board was what, like 8.5, 9, something like that.
I think I'm looking at the lines now. The biggest one that I've seen as of right now, it's actually 7.5 with the Bucs and Cowboys and 7.5 with the Lions and 49ers.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. When you ask me for the picks, I'm like, it should be easier to just pick the money line.
Yeah.
But you're like, no, well, let's do this. I'm like, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult, but yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
so,
it's more difficult. We're trying to challenge ourselves here on this podcast.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit because the money line, we could do money lines all day because like it's literally just like here, look for value, who thinks win the game. Here we got like tight point margins to navigate this week.
See, when I bet, I always do the same game parlays.
Oh yeah,
because I'm not somebody that'll bet 10, 15 or more dollars a game. I'll put $1 down and pick 8 different things to happen, and the payout will be like 20 grand.
Yeah,
I'm that kind of guy because one day it'll hit, and at the end of the day, I'm only wait. It's $1.
Yeah,
it's a candy bar.
Yeah,
I'd rather try to get more money than back on more weight that I gained in the pandemic. So,
well, there you go. That's a good way to look at it. All right. So to reset here, we're going to do the picks every week here. Me and the guest. This week it's Charlie. It'll be somebody else. Next week I'll reveal who that is at the end of the segment here. But we're going to do 3 picks based on the lines. These the FanDuel Sportsbook lines. They are current as of podcast recording time. So you're me and Charlie cite a number, and then 3 days after the podcast release, the number has changed. Don't add us on Twitter here. We got no control over that. I just want to set that up before the season starts here, so he'll get my mentions.
All right. Hey, there's always what I learned when I first started the whole broadcasting thing is they don't record the same day that it's released, or rarely happens, but it does happen.
Yeah.
But as soon as you're done hitting record, whatever you just did is out of date immediately. As soon as you hit stop recording. So hey, gotta live and learn with the punches, man.
Yeah, it's a window in time here. So it's giving this to the audience to give you the context when these picks are made. So I don't see anything crazy happening, barring like a COVID positive that could throw a number out of whack. If it does, I'll address it next week on the pod. But here we are. We're going to start our picks here, going 3 picks every week. Charlie, as the guest, you may go first here. Where are you going with your first pick of the week?
I am going to pick the New England Patriots, giving 2.5 to the Miami Dolphins. Mac Jones, he's Tom Brady 2.0. It's written in the stars. It's written in Bill Belichick's Deal with the Devil. He has his next Tom Brady, and I believe this is the start. This is game number 1. This is where Bill Belichick retakes over the entire league instead of having, Cam Newton, who was kind of subpar. Now he has his guy. So I'm going to go with New England giving the Dolphins 2.5 at home.
Yeah, that's a fascinating game. It's one I stay away from because those 2 teams are going to be, somebody's going to be the second place team in the AFC. Somebody's going to be terrible. I know my team's going to be last in the AFC, so I'm going to acknowledge that out of hand, but that's what I'm staying far away from.
That's fair.
All right. Pick number 2. Where are you going?
I am going to go with the Browns getting 6.5 at Kansas City. I believe the Browns are going to take a massive step this season. And what better way to start than by smacking the Kansas City Chiefs right in the mouth? Baker Mayfield, I expect a lot more out of. I believe Odell Beckham Jr. is back.
Yeah.
So now a healthy OBJ and a healthy Jarvis Landry, the 1-2 punch, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. I got to give it to the Browns. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with this year. And I believe they also added Jadeveon Clowney to that defense too.
Yep.
So it never count him out. I know he hasn't had the career he's wanted to have, but he's still one heck of a ball player. So I'm taking taking the Browns to beat Kansas City in Kansas City, making a statement early. Cleveland.
Getting the points here is very helpful too, because this is the right time to catch them because they have the rebuild offensive line with 5 new starters, and the Browns have a pretty good front 4, so they can give them some headaches here.
Yeah, I'm expecting the Chiefs to kind of have a little bit of a down year, and when I say a down year, I mean 12-5, 13-4. Now you have to add an extra number, which is it hurts my it hurts my brain. So for a down year for them, 13-4, 12-5, 14-3. That's still not a down year by most standards, but for the Chiefs, it would be considered a down year.
All right, that's pick number 2. Pick number 3. Where are you going to wrap up your week?
To wrap up the week, I am going to go with the Arizona Cardinals getting 3 against the Tennessee Titans. I just have a gut feeling about the Cardinals this year. Kyler Murray, he's now in his third year in the league. He's got D-Hop. He doesn't have Larry Fitzgerald anymore, even though Fitz wasn't as big of a force as he normally was. I expect things to come out of Arizona this year, especially with J.J. Watt now on the defense. I think a lot of people saw him in Houston and thought that he's not the J.J. Watt of old. He's not, but he's still J.J. Watt. So he's still going to take that defense to another level, and I think the Cardinals are going to make some noise this year. So I'm going to take Arizona getting 3 at Tennessee.
And that's, I think, one of the most underrated games of week 1 here. That game is fascinating because those 2 teams have a lot of offensive firepower, not a lot of defense ability. Both teams that could make some noise, it could fall flat in their face. So it's interesting to see who gets off to the hot start there.
Yeah, I never count out a team that's coached by Mike Vrabel, but this time I'll make an exception because I think, like I said, Arizona is going to make a big step this year, and what better way to start than in week 1?
All right. Those are Charlie's picks on the board. I'm up now. Pick number 1. I'm going to start off here and take Joe D's team, taking the Green Bay Packers, laying 4.5 against the Saints in Jacksonville. I get the situation's tough for the Saints with the hurricane and to move that game out of New Orleans. I know they said, oh, we did all the research. We might want to make it hard for the Packers. If this game's New Orleans, I love the Packers because the Saints, in my opinion, are taking a big step backwards. No Michael Thomas. The offensive capability is down. It's a very top-heavy roster. And this Packers team is on a mission this year. 4.5 is not a big number. I think they're winning this game by at least a touchdown. I think Aaron Rodgers will not make a statement here and say, hey, last dance, here we go. I'm going to take the Packers, laying the 4.5 against the Saints. Pick 1.
See, I don't agree with that. I would go with the Saints. Jameis Winston, as a Buccaneers fan, I've seen him. And in his last year, he went 30 for 30. 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. But that's when he couldn't see. He finally had a surgery. He got LASIK. And he did great last year when he was the third string in New Orleans. But now that he's a starter and he has Alvin Kamara, I think that the drama of the Packers offseason is kind of going to start to trickle in this year. And it's going to force the Packers' hand and make them choose sooner than they would like to think between Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, right?
Yeah,
that's his name. Yep, Jordan Love. So I'd pick the Saints, but hey, sorry, Joe.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see who Joe likes better after this week. But going down to pick number 2, and I love finding a home dog in week 1 that's capable here, and I think I like getting value with the Washington football team getting a point at home against the Chargers. And I know everyone wants to anoint the Chargers. Oh, they're this great young team. The quarterback is great. The coach is great. I have all these new changes. Since when do we count on the Los Angeles Chargers to fly across the country, play 1 o'clock body time, 10 a.m. body time, 1 o'clock Eastern time, against a team with a capable defensive front and a capable quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and make some plays? To me, that is just screaming for an upset. I'm getting a point. I just need them to win outright. I think Washington's going to win this game outright. So give me the football team getting a point at home against the Chargers.
Joe, I'm going to bring it back to me as a Bucs fan. Watching that wild card game between Tampa Bay and Washington, I felt nervous the entire game because Washington was severely underrated. Even though they had a losing record, they went toe-to-toe with the eventual champions, and I will never, under any circumstances, under this sun and on this green planet, ever underestimate Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ever. No matter what.
Yeah.
When he was with the Bucs, Deshaun Jackson had like 600 receiving yards in 2 games. It was ridiculous. Obviously, that's an exaggeration, but Ryan Fitzmagic, if you will.
It's magic indeed. Pick number 2. Pick number 3. I'm going to go to an old standby that does pretty well going out east, and I'm going to go to the Seattle Seahawks laying 2.5 in Indy against the Colts because the Colt offseason, you talk about the Packers being dramatic, the Colts have had quite the year. They've had all sorts of COVID hijinks in the background. They lost T.Y. Hilton to an injury. They have all sorts of drama off the field. And the Seattle team coming in here, they're pretty healthy. They're only laying 2.5 points. Russ and company do well flying out east. I think they will take advantage of the Colts secondary, which is probably the weakest unit on the team. I think they're going to have a good game here. I'm only laying 2.5 and you win by 3. I can do that. Seahawks 2.5 at the Colts, pick 3.
I'd agree. I mean, I'm sorry, Pat McAfee, but the Colts they're just not there yet. They're not healthy. I don't think Carson Wentz has pulled a full rep together this entire preseason, and it's kind of hard to do that when you pay so much for a guy that really hasn't shown up yet. But that's not really his fault. He's been hurt and COVID, so it's a lot. You're right. It is a lot of drama, but what can you do? I agree. Seahawks are going to go over.
All right, so reset the picks here. Charlie's going with the Browns, getting 6.5 at Arrowhead against the Chiefs. The Cardinals getting 3 in Tennessee against the Titans. The Patriots laying 2.5 at home against the Miami Dolphins. I am taking Joe D's Green Bay Packers, laying 4.5 against the New Orleans Saints in Jacksonville. The Washington football team getting a point at home against the Los Angeles Chargers. And the Seattle Seahawks laying 2.5 at Indy. And those are your picks for week number 1 on the podcast. And just for fun for the listeners, I'm going to do something different here as well. Week 1 starts the new year. And have you ever played the knockout pools?
I have.
Yes.
I have. It's never really gone well. Usually I make it 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's my cutoff. But
yeah. I meant to do this last year. I forgot. So this year I'm bringing it back. We're going to give out my knockout pick every week on the podcast, and as long as I'm alive. So this could be over next week. We could be going to Thanksgiving. You don't know. This is all the fun of this sport.
That's fair.
So this week, I am going with the San Francisco 49ers in Detroit against the Lions. That is the pick here.
It's a safe pick.
Yeah.
It's a very safe pick. So it's a good one to start off with. I don't think the Lions will win more than 3 games this year.
No, I love that 49er team. I think that I love their chances in that game because Detroit is one of the 2 worst teams in the league. And like basically the strategy for me is like pick against them or the Texans as often as possible. The Texans are playing Jacksonville, which I can't do. So I got to go with 49ers here.
Now, do you pick one team 1 week and you can't pick them the rest of the season?
Well, that's the rules.
All right.
That's why I thought about your team from this. I don't think you guys are going to lose on opening night. But I said, I'm not going to be careful. I'm not going to touch that one considering Dak can just, get in a shootout and win.
Yeah, but I mean, they're my team. So I wouldn't bet on them to win in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Because they're my team. And I'm cursed. We're cursed because we're Mets fans.
Yeah, well, you got one ring out. I mean, I haven't gotten any.
I have had, in my lifetime, out of all of my sports teams, 5 championships and 4 that I can remember.
Of all the teams I root for in all the sports, I have one title, and it was 21 years ago.
Who was that?
The Michigan State Spartans college basketball team.
Oh, I was talking about professional, but I'm sorry, bud.
Yeah.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, I've always rooted for Rutgers.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I mean, I had the Mets lose the World Series twice in my lifetime.
Yep.
I was too young to remember the Rangers winning the cup, so I can't even claim that one.
Yeah, I do not claim the Devils 95 Cup win. I do claim the 2000 and 2003.
Yep.
So technically, I've only seen 4 championships. The Devils have had 2 in my lifetime that I can remember, and the Buccaneers have 2. The Nets, nah.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously, the Jets, we don't have to mention what happens there.
I'm sorry. Still.
Yeah.
I apologized last year whenever we talked about the Jets.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's just like a natural instinct. Whenever somebody says, yeah, I root for the Jets, it's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like immediately after they say they're a Jets fan. No offense.
Yeah. And I've seen the Knicks lose the 99 finals.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I believe the Nets went to 2 straight finals.
They did. They was the Lakers and the Spurs.
Yeah. Somebody lost 3 times in a row. Or am I mistaken?
In the NBA?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the Lakers. They won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep.
Yes.
They beat the 76ers, the Nets, and I forget who the third team was.
Indiana.
Yep. Reggie Miller and the Pacers. Yep.
Yeah. But on the bright side, you're also a net guy, so you have a great shot to get one the next couple of years.
Not to get too far into it, how do I put this lightly? I don't like the deal with the devil that they made.
Yeah.
But that's how you got to win in the NBA these days.
To be fair, your football team also made a deal with the devil, and you won a Super Bowl out of it.
Tom Brady is not the devil. Bill Belichick is.
Yeah.
we just brought the devil's son over.
All right. Well, he's not my son, but next week on the podcast, doing the picks here for week number 2 and bringing the unofficial co-host of the podcast, Will Schneiderhan. Been a bit busy, has not been able to get him on here, but he is coming on to do the picks. He gets to recap Zach Wilson's pro debut next week.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. I'm interested to see on how he works out.
Yeah.
As the last couple quarterbacks that you've had, they start off good.
They don't finish good.
Nope.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam.
I will say, though, I feel confident in this game for some reason because whenever they get these, the NFL likes to be cute, is like to put these revenge games up there. Like when the Jets trade Reeves to Tampa Bay. Oh, they're playing the Buccaneers week 1. And then here we go, going to Sam Darnold week 1. I feel like this is going to be
started on that trade.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this one, I feel like this is a spot, Sam Darnold's going to get a big interception in this game. Somehow the Jets will end up with it. And the Jets will somehow win a nail biter. That's my prediction for week 1.
It's either going to be that or Sam Darnold throws 6 touchdowns and over 500 yards and sets a fantasy football record for most points in a game.
Well, it's also possible considering they say the Jets secondary.
You guys released Blasson Austin, correct?
Yes, our number the number one of the top corners on the team. They said, you know what, we're gonna go with young guys. So I get the philosophy because this is a year where they're going,
Isn't he young though?
he's not as young as the guys they drafted.
Blasson Austin's a Rutgers boy. You can't do that to a Rutgers boy in Jersey.
Hey, I'm aware. Like I don't understand it, but they decided to go different direction.
Hey, we're on this side for a reason. So
yes, we are.
that's
And
what it is.
Charlie, well, thank you for all the time today. Really appreciate it. Before I let you go,
Thank you, Mike.
I can follow social media, what some of the stuff you're doing.
Just on Twitter, I write for Pucks and Pitchfork still. On Fansided. It's all about the New Jersey Devils. We've had an exciting offseason. I have a couple more pieces coming out soon. So keep an eye on my Twitter, which is at Charlie Borges Jr., I believe. Just keep an eye on my Twitter, and there you go. Pretty much it.
And we're keeping track of our Mets here, seeing like how they're going to tease us before they fly us down again.
Yeah, I saw they're up 3-2 before we started recording. I don't know what the score is now.
It's now 3-3. I've been glancing back and forth here, so
Makes sense.
Hey, Carlos Carrasco ran into trouble in the sixth. Aaron Loop came with the bases loaded, guy out of it with allowing just the one run.
Name something more dependable than Aaron Loop. You can't.
I can. It's the Mets failing to get hit with runner in scoring position.
You see, you had to go negative. I was trying to be positive with the Mets, but you had to go negative. But I mean, it's all you can. It's all you can do with this team. It's like, oh, you won 2 games against the Marlins. DUI for the general manager. It's just the one after the other with this. We're cursed. I don't know why, but we're cursed.
Yeah, it's that Wilpon juju. They have to like get out that last 5%.
I think as soon as Luis Rojas and Sandy Alderson are gone and all connections to the Wilpons are gone, that's when they can really start to move forward. And I believe I'm holding out hope that we will throw a line into the ocean that is Theo Epstein, and a fish named Theo Epstein will catch on the line and we will reel him in.
Just remember, though. All right. Thanks again, sir. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, Mike. Have a good one, man.